So I want to say that here's my opinion on 6K players. Okay, you guys have like all the capability to have the right knowledge. You usually have most of the mechanics, and your vision of the game is virtually non-existent. Like you guys just don't even. It's like in the nicest way, you guys don't even consider what it means to like envision the game. So that's what I'm going to try to get you guys to do today.
Banana slam jam.
Let me talk to you about how I envision drafting. Okay, so you want to first pick Oracle? That's fine. We see Oracle Clockwork, so we're like, okay, we're against Clockwork. What I want to do now is most likely pick a core that goes with Oracle and doesn't die to clock. That's it. And I'm like, okay, so I wanted a core that doesn't die to clock and utilizes Oracle's defensive kit. And then what are the carries they're most likely going to pick against Oracle? So, like, the last thing I would want to do is pick, like, Oracle Drow, right? Because Spectre is good against both of those. So, like, that's the last thing I want to do. So, it's like, if I think Spectre is their best carry pick in the current meta, like, out of all the current carries, I'd say Spectre and Sven are probably the best against Oracle. Maybe PA is okay as well. My question would be to the carry player, out of every carry in the game that makes use of Oracle that doesn't die to Clockwork and does okay in game against Spectre Sven, who would you pick?
Life is Stealer.
Lifestealer? Boom!
Yep.
Go for it. Second pick Lifestealer. Like, and if you guys have to like ban Slardar like in the first round to make that work for your Oracle first pick, because you said, damn, like it's good against all the carries. We struggle against the offlane Slardar. Then that's how you draft. Like that, like if you want to open up picks for yourself, that's how you have to think. Like you have to ask your carry player. So as an Oracle, I don't like playing against these three carries. They have a Clockwork. What doesn't die to it? Boom. And then that's how you learn. Because like remember how I asked, is Storm damage? And somebody said yes, and then the Storm player said no. Which it's crazy because none of you guys are gonna know the other roles as well as the guy who's playing. Like, so it's really important that if you guys ask each other questions like this, where you're like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not countered by the same shit. I'm Oracle. I'm bad against these three heroes. What can you pick that's good against those three heroes? What I'm getting at is that you guys, as 6K players, you guys have a lot of individual knowledge. You guys have gotten to your 6K bracket because you usually know your own heroes very well. But what you guys don't usually know very well is the other players' heroes. You guys don't know how they work, what makes them have issues. It is, like, from personal experience, it is very hard as a carry player to understand what Oracle hates playing against, what Warlock hates playing against, what Enchantress, Undying, what these heroes hate playing against. Because most of this knowledge is gained by the guy playing Undying 100 times and losing to the same hero 10 times in a row, right? That's how the knowledge is gained. So, go
Can I
ahead.
make a request?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, like our draft is like one of our biggest issues. Can we draft against the 9K God BSJ real quick? Like a
Like, you
fast
just
one,
mean
maybe
like a
just-
sample draft?
Yeah. Like just hop in a quick lobby.
Hey man,
just
sure.
everything out through the
I'll
picks
do a
real
draft
quick.
with you real quick. That'll
Hell
be
yeah.
Entertain you.
Okay, go ahead. Start your draft, sir.
All right, get it.
So what'd you guys say they denied you last game?
Phoenix Lena.
Phoenix Lena? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing just for the sake of like, you know, because it's this internal meta you guys got. But then from there I'll pick whatever.
Okay, we'll just do what we did then.
I'll do my best to say what I'm thinking about each pick just for the sake of this draft.
Your turn to pick.
So I'd say against Omni, you're gonna have like your two primary picks are Void Sven. That's pretty much what like I would be most scared of you picking, and I would much rather play Void into an Omni Sven than a Sven into an
10
Omni
seconds
Void.
remaining.
So I'm gonna pick Void.
Enemy's turn to pick.
So then, like, do we just? I feel like commit to this Phenom.
I mean that's up to you, man. Does that pick not make it more difficult for you already? You want to pick PA into me?
You're just go like Wraith King.
10 seconds remaining.
Like yeah, you could go Wraith King right now if you want. I think that hero's picked like once in the last
5
year.
seconds remaining.
Go Spectre.
Yeah,
You can go Spectre if you want. Like, I'm not telling you guys what to not pick. I'm just telling you
we're-
the thought behind my picks.
We're
I
kind of
understand.
you're still in our comms too, so
Yeah,
that's why we're
absolutely.
gonna discuss it. amongst
Yeah,
each
okay.
other.
You know what? Anything you guys discuss, unless you explicitly ask me, I'm not going to respond.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So-
But I do like hearing what you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I would
10
say,
seconds remaining.
Like I said, this
that-
already feels like a strong lane and safe lane. Like, what are they gonna do? You know?
5
yeah,
seconds
what I
remaining.
see is a strong laning safe lane, and a lane that I probably just want an in-game counter to whatever you're doing. So I don't necessarily need to pair it with Void right now. I don't think your lineup makes me have to enable my Void right now with some pick. Like, I don't feel starved for a specific 5 that's going to be good against what you got going. So what I want is a support that's going to inevitably be able to take over lanes, because Void likes that a lot. And I also want a support that's good against Omni. So that establishes my next pick.
Enemy's turn to ban.
Nice. Okay. And we need to get rid of Viper
Your turn to
because
ban.
Spectre doesn't want to face it.
Yeah.
What's the difference of you 8 picking Viper there? Because obviously you can just like 15.
So I could
Yeah,
absolutely go for Viper, but because you have Omni, I'm not looking for heroes that all in kill your Spectre. That's not what my plan is. My plan with the Void pick is to make it so that you can't just pick Void or Sven and feel good about
10
it,
seconds
right?
remaining.
That's the idea behind my pick. So because you do have a hero that's like about stopping the chrono. So it's like, I don't necessarily want to all in this chrono damage. Like, I'm gonna probably pick some synergy, but it's not in the form of like 5-on-5, like all in on one combo, because that's what Omni is good against.
Hmm.
So what I now see, let's see here. So you banned Viper. What I'm now gonna ban is stuff that is good for your lineup and hard for me to be playing against.
Mhm.
So I would say you need tower push and you need a strong laner against Void. That's what I'm concerned about.
Enemy's turn to ban.
All right, and we're just kind of looking at yours, and you don't really have tower push either, or any damage to dump in Chrono yet. So we probably just want to get rid of like any mids that can just kind
10
of
seconds
dunk
remaining.
damage into
Your turn
Chronos.
to
Obviously,
ban.
like Cataclysm Chrono is like one of the easiest combos to like hit.
Zeus.
Yeah, I had Zeus hovered for a bit,
But
but I think
no,
he
the
wants
Spectre
something
just
that
dumpsters the Zeus. You don't really have to
Yeah.
worry about that.
Yeah.
probably
10
something
seconds
to
remaining.
just also like dump damage into Chrono and apply tower
5
pressure.
seconds remaining.
Hmm.
I feel like Necro could be. Well, we have Nami.
What is BSJ gonna ban? That's important.
Enemy's turn to ban.
So I banned a hero that I don't want to deal with you guys ramming down our lanes in the first 10 minutes of the game. Because I do have, even though you have Spectre, I have Void who suffers from similar issues, and I don't want to feel pressured to deal with it. So I'm picking
10
heroes.
seconds remaining.
In this case, I'm not going to give it too much away, but I intend to have supports that take over lanes, and I don't want you to be good against these supports, basically.
Hmm.
So even though Rubik's usually good against Timbersaw, I would actually argue that like that 5 to 10 minute window where Rubik's still level 5, Timbersaw would be a significant issue.
Hmm.
And I also don't plan to pick something that's good against Timbersaw, so I got rid of it.
I've hovered over Enchantress and Ogre a bit just because they're good 5s that giving like clearly like Bloodlusting Void is like pretty strong, and like having more stuns in lane just a tanky 4. But I don't know, I'm kind of hovering over Mars a bit, just like strong offlaner, doesn't really care. I'm not really worried about Sardar because Omni can purge the corrosive haze. Maybe Axe is kind of difficult to deal with, but I don't see that comboing super well with the Void. Probably just
Look
gonna
at
get
the
rid of the
Void too.
Magnus here, just so they
Your
can't
turn to
mag
ban.
Void.
Mag
Just
was
gonna
what I
use
intended to
it.
pick. That is why I banned
Oh,
Timbersaw. So that is
9K,
like
let's
it
go.
requires me to express to you like Timbersaw is good against the supports I want to pick. My goal was to pick a support that made Void outscale Spectre. That was my ideal pick. So you should never give me that. You know, in the top tier games, like they don't give away
10 seconds remaining.
the ideal pick. So that was what I was gonna pick. So that's something
5
important to think
seconds
about.
remaining.
Okay. So I now need to think. Can I actually pause? Can you guys pause? Open console and pause for me. I just was so busy explaining myself that I'm not even.
What's
looking at my
the command?
pause? It's literally just pause. I think.
It didn't work when I typed in /pause.
Dota pause. Dota underscore pause. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
There you go. Yeah, it
pause.
worked. Dota
Okay.
underscore pause.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't have nearly as much reserve time because I'm.
No,
busy
no,
explaining.
yeah, you're explaining it.
So
take your time.
right now, I'd usually be thinking of like backups to mag. So like in this case, I kind of have I have to take a different approach. So what my original approach was that even though we have no tower push, my Void hero scales against the hero you picked to enable your hero. So if I had picked a hero that it just enables Void to eventually carry the game harder, then I would have like felt comfortable to not be forcing the issue. But now with you having picked or having banned that hero, I don't really think there's another one. I'm not really intent on picking my 5 just yet, since you banned the one that I was looking to do. I'm probably going to look to just pick my offlaner instead, something that will now apply the pressure to Spectre. Ideally, it would be a flex pick, a hero that also capitalizes on magic damage and doesn't have an issue being flexed in this current meta. So my pick, I think, probably be obvious once I pick it. You can unpause.
No. Leave it paused just so we don't have like clocks ticking. Like running out time's not really the issue. It's more or less
Okay,
just.
gotcha. So now, like, that's how I would have thought that, and then I now did think, okay, that's the hero I want. What hero's good against it? So in this case, I will ban Pugna.
Oh,
It's
that's
also pretty
really
good against
interesting.
Void,
And Necro.
and
'Cause
it's
I
also good
wanted
against
that.
this.
I wanted that Pugna. We pick that up often as well. So what I'm thinking right now is I kind of want to pick like a 3/4 Veno here, which kind of dumps on Void and applies a lot of tower pressure, and then either grab a 3/4 that kind of can provide that blink initiate, like probably an Axe or a Mars, and just kind of crank up the pressure. So we actually have some type of kill threat and lane pressure on the Void, which will most likely force you to pick a 5 to alleviate that pressure. So that's why I'm gonna.
So
go
I have
with
Rubik to
that
deal
pick.
with your Veno in terms of lanes. Past the laning stage, so I'm thinking like 8 to 15 minutes. I have the hero that would ideally take over the lane, steals wards, and defends my towers. So now I want a hero that deals with the lane and also sets the pace of the game. It gives me heal as well as tower push, so I pick this.
Yeah, Chen, he's pretty annoying. So hovering
We can
on.
go Doom here.
Yeah, Doom's pretty good against
Deal
Leshrac
with Chen,
Void.
deal with Void. They do have a Rubik
Plus,
though, but
he can go. He can get Centaur, go Blink, Stomp, or go Shadowblade, which is like pretty nice. Plus, it does fairly well in lane. Really shouldn't be pressured by Chen Void. Plus, he can just eat the creep that Chen brings over. So there goes a lot of the lane pressure as well. So go with.
Void will be afraid to show in lane.
So now we need to take away. They have not.
So let's think about what we don't have, right? And what I would say maybe just think about what we are missing here.
I mean, we are missing, aside if like he gets a blink and a centaur creep, we're kind of missing that up and go, and we're
Well,
missing
we
some
have-
tower pressure.
We don't have a ton of wave clear. We
Yeah.
have like tower defense, but
So
think-
what mids in the pool still can deep push and provides that like control? I'm thinking Puck. The leash is like pretty insane against Void, and obviously BSJ can hear us, and he probably.
Yeah, we should probably just
Could ban
focus on
it.
the
I'm not
bans
changing
right now.
anything I do based on what you guys say. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Okay,
Just-
yeah.
You can
Probably
talk
just
it out
focus on the
loud and then
ban.
just choose whether or not to ban.
Like what 3 position does he need right now?
I mean, obviously, like he needs like some like we have the Spectre, right? So he needs an offlaner that can just like go in without a blink. So like what's left in the pool. So obviously we have Omni Knight, so I don't think Batrider's super scary, but like it could be.
They could even do Flesh as a 3, like Rubik Flesh. Pretty much
Mhm.
their Spectre Omni. I wouldn't assume Lush is a mid.
right.
Sand King's a pretty good pick for them this game too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Sand
I'm
King's
probably just
pretty
gonna
easy
go
ban.
Sand King and either Mars or Bat, and just. I mean, mm,
They need an initiator.
So what I
There's
see for
already-
your lineup is that you guys have incredibly static laners. Nobody on your team actually moves anywhere. So what I need to be afraid of is that all of your lanes, like Doom, walking in them, creating like a dead, like it's like a dead lane in the sense that none of our heroes would want to like walk up to him. Same with Veno. I need a hero that doesn't make it scary for a lot of my heroes to walk there by themselves, because that hero just dives us or capitalizes on the fact that the lane is pushed. And I think that's predominantly done through getting on top of us. So I will ban that.
think I figured it out.
So out of all the heroes left in the pool, it just kind of boils down to what I think is the least scary. So what I see for my last pick is that you guys have literally no stuns. So I can pretty much pick anything in the pool that's not bad, like that can capitalize on the fact that you guys have no stuns. I don't want anything I do to be heavy commitment. So because you guys picked no stuns, I'm probably flexing the Lesh to offlane, just because most of the time mid laners are the role that can capitalize on no stuns. If you guys had picked a lot of stuns, I'd actually be more enticed to put Lesh mid and then pick like a bulky offlaner that's meant to keep everyone alive. But in this case, I'm more so looking to punish your lineup with something from the mid pool. So, for instance, like, I'd be scared of you guys picking Void Spirit here, meaning, like, for your own game plan. But since I would have an insta-pick in mind to respond to the Void Spirit, I'm not afraid of that. You haven't banned it out, so, like, I'm going to leave it in the pool. What I am afraid of is something that, like, would be good against all the heroes I've picked already, but then also good against whatever I plan to pick. So, I'm actually still thinking about it, because it takes way longer to think it when I have to talk it out loud. But I would argue that you guys want catch, and you want a hero that rotates, and a hero that's good at catching mobile heroes. So I will ban this.
Now, here's the thing. Like, obviously, I would like 23 like a Bat Rider here, just so we have that like fairly wins mid, has some pressure, and like you have no answer for Lasso, but you have last pick, so you'll just snap the Legion or like any hero with like a Purge. So I think that kind of like puts a stranglehold on us to like have to either pick like this Puck or Void Spirit, so we have some type of control. What are you thinking, team?
I like Ember. Mobile, can move around, can be mobile.
I like
We
Puck.
have
Yeah, I think the puck answers everything that we're missing. It's catch, it's mobile, it rotates, it pushes waves. It's not necessarily damage, but we don't necessarily need to a lot more damage coming out of our mid lane when we have Spectre.
What do you think about Dragonite though? He provides a stun, he's fairly tanky, he applies a lot
He
of
doesn't
counter pressure.
rotate. It's the same issue with the rest of our lanes. He's very static. He doesn't move around.
Yeah.
Your Zeus or Puck?
Mm.
Yeah, I think that doesn't the Zeus just get like chronoed in the 24 pick and just be literally Void Spirit? Like
Yeah.
just literally get on top of him 24/7.
Yeah, I think
It
Puck's
basically
good.
has to be a Puck that rushes Yules. So I'm curious to see what BSJ says though.
So it's interesting to me, like, Puck's a hero that I would consider, like, in one of the ones that would catch my mobile heroes, but I also believe mid-game, you guys literally can't fight us through a pipe. Like, if we have a pipe, you can't, like, we'll have a mech on Chen, decent timing, we'll also have a pipe. So at this stage, I see Puck and I say, you guys still have damage issues. You guys actually have issues walking into us at all for, like, the first 20 minutes, I would say. Because both teams have very tanky, very sturdy lineups, and one team has a Lesh and the other team doesn't, basically. So, like, what I'm seeing is that our heroes innately dump out a lot of damage. You may say Veno does a lot of damage, but when the opponent has a lot of sustain, like Void Time Walk, Chen Mech, Chen Heal, it really just isn't enough damage to, like, put you over the edge. So in this case, what I would want now is just a hero that lanes pretty well against Puck, or a hero I might even consider putting off lane now. Like this is like now that I think the way I can capitalize on beating your lineup, since most of the mobile heroes are not good against Puck. I think I would actually do pretty much what the last team did, since it also synergizes with Void, and just go for Death Prophet. I think that's exactly what I would do.
So
That
yeah,
is-
as you can see, and I'm excited to look back at the VOD and like hear these words slowly. But
Yeah.
like you see how he kind of like I draft us into these like difficult matchups. Like it's hard to like transition this like Omni Spectre, Omni Sven into like not getting caught into like try to one dealing with like your Void or like this Leshrac, right? And like you got rid of the Pugna, which like we could do mid or four, or you know, so it's like we kind of get I kind of find myself getting caught with my pants down drafting a bit, just because it's like, yeah, we grabbed this Veno and it's like, oh, we have like some tower pressure and we can deal with the Void now.
So what I see here is that I think your worst pick was probably the Doom. You guys fixated too heavily on like, oh, it can devour a Chen creep, and like that can lane really well, and you focused way too much on the lane itself rather than the game plan. So here's like I was analyzing Secrets draft back. Like I just want to be clear to you guys and everyone watching. Like I'm not just acting like I won this draft. I'm just talking about like obviously if I'm picking the heroes, I think I won, or like I like my strategy or whatever. But like so I'll just critique anything I see from you guys. It's like when I was analyzing Secrets draft at when I was in Ukraine, they were pretty much instantly addressing anything the opponent did, and if the opponent never addressed what they did, then they just rolled them. Like they actually just rolled them, because what they would do is like if they picked a push hero and the opponent didn't pick D push, they would just pick 2 more push heroes, and then like the game's fucking over. So I look at your draft and I think like Puck is like quote unquote D push, but if you consider it like what's Veno going to be doing on the map, right? Like Omni Spectre, they're going to be playing defensively on the map. Doom going to be playing relatively defensively on the map, maybe like playing top a little bit for you guys, or bottom, excuse me, because you're Radiant, so top. But he's not really like pressure. He's like maybe pushing a building with Veno. I'd say that's pretty much all Doom's doing all game. And so like, is Puck ever going to be enough to like single-handedly defend buildings? And I would answer probably not. However, on the other hand, I think Rubik, because he's good against Veno, is good enough single-handedly to defend my buildings. So when it comes to like resources allocation, you not only want to pick heroes that do the job, but you want to pick heroes that can like do it as effectively as possible in the specific matchup. Like if against Beastmaster, I'm not picking Rubik to D-push. I'm picking Wyvern. Like Wyvern's way better at D-pushing against Beastmaster than Rubik is. But against Veno, Rubik's really good against that D-push. So you guys kind of picked yourself into a corner, because when it comes to like, even though you picked like a D-push pusher, I've already got the D-push aspect down in my lineup. Like it's already built in. So I can like all in the push. I can just all in the push and say, well, we're going to defend our towers with 1 hero, and it's going to take you guys like 4 or 5 to defend your towers. Like Puck will not be enough. Veno Puck, if that's like what you're doing, then like Leshrac or Chen can just go somewhere else. Like we have multiple sources of pressure, right? Like multiple ways to actually go about it. So it's like, because we have multiple heroes that kind of like double down on the same concept that you guys kind of failed to address, in my opinion, like that Doom could have been an Underlord that you guys banned out. It could have been, stuff like that. It could have been a 4-position hero that D-pushes a little bit, or even threatens. Like a hero like Mirana kind of threatens. I'm not saying Mirana was good. I'm just saying like it can be something that threatens push itself. It's really hard for me to see without hero listings. But the point is, the reason why I hated the Doom pick the most is like I just look at it and say, in terms of draft itself, game plan itself, I don't even care about that pick. I've already got Rubik. Yeah. All it did is like maybe make my safe lane a bit more, like a bit weaker. Like maybe your off laner will have a bit better game because you picked Doom. But like I've got a save in the form of like a lot of sustain and heal. And then like I've got multiple targets you want to Doom. I can also, like, Lesh doesn't really mind getting doomed because he can just have his ult going. And then I can pick a last hero that probably wants to get doomed as well. And the thing about Void first pick here is it doesn't look like an ideal game in a vacuum where it's like Void into Veno's kind of annoying, Void into Doom's kind of annoying. But all of the parts of the game that Void suffers from, D-push, push, damage, are all accounted for in the rest of my lineup. So Void can purely itemize for himself to make it so he can play Dota. Like, I can just buy, like, Manta Lincolns and an MKB or some shit. Like, I'm just saying, like, whatever I think I fucking need to buy to be alive as a Faceless Void, I can buy. Because all the other parts of the game are taken care of. And that's, like, in the first round of a draft, I think that's really important. That if you take care of the other aspects of Dota, like with PA, it's like she has the same problem, where it's like if she's allowed to just farm, then all she has to do is get the items that allow her to do things. But if her team's like losing their buildings left and right, like PA is not going to be allowed to do that. So maybe PA has to itemize to actually fight in the mid game, and that fucking blows. Like, that sucks. So that's like my emphasis is the Doom pick specifically did not make me respond to it at all. And I think the later on in the draft it is, the more and more important it is that that pick requires a response. It's like nice to respond to something on my team, but if it's not a game plan thing in like the 4th, 5th pick, that game plan thing better be like accounted for already. Like, I don't know if you think this, but I don't think Veno is enough to stop Lesh Chen pushes.
Yeah.
Right? So if Doom, for instance, say it was a different issue in the game, like say it was a different issue in the game that Doom's good against, and you saw a Chen on the opponent team, that's when you pick Doom. Right? Like if you say, God, we just need some way to lock down this Void, and we need something to lane against Chen, that's when you pick Doom. You see what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
So out of all the heroes in the offlane that can lane against Chen, I would argue maybe like Veno's gonna do okay. So like you could pick a support, or you could pick something else that's like maybe like I would say in that case you like maybe pick a support that makes Veno's lane a little bit easier, but then also deals with the Chen, like whatever that may be for you guys. But that's just I don't like giving specific hero recommendations. I just like giving
I'm not asking for
so
tell me what heroes to
yeah.
pick
I'm
just
just being
want
clear
these
that the way I
ideas.
like to think about Dota is like the minute I tell you a specific hero, that leaves a lot for interpretation. Like, or like there's so many reasons you could misunderstand me and what I'm trying to actually tell you. So
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
yeah. So any questions you guys have? Like, I know this was like kind of a long sit through, but my goal was to make it so you guys could hopefully have a different perspective on the way you think about the game. Including carries, like even like I know you're a young guy if you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's like I know you're a young guy, and a lot of the young players like yourself, you're usually going to be very mechanically skilled. You should be confident in what you know about Dota, but like it's now, in my opinion, your time as a carry to start thinking about what heroes are good against other roles on your team. Like what game plan issues do your heroes have? You know, like if like not just PA in a 1v1 vacuum versus the offlaner. What about PA in the game is hard to play against? Is it losing all my buildings in the early game? It's like when I'm a troll, I don't have the issue of losing all my buildings in the early game because if the opponent tries to take my buildings, I just go take their buildings. Like that's a problem troll doesn't face. Like every hero in the game faces different issues, right? So for you, a lot of those issues that you can think about as a carry, and this applies to mid laners too, is actually like game plan issues for your hero. So hopefully that can help, like, because a lot of you guys, I feel like pick 1-to-1 vacuum, like my carry is good against their carry, or my carry beats their offlaner, or my mid laner is a good 1v1 against their off. Like even in that draft, like I would argue like you pick Doom because it's good against my 5. Like that's it in the lane. Like that's it. I would say Doom in the actual mid game itself is not that great against Chen. Like because the D push aspect's not that powerful. So yeah, any final questions or things from you guys?
Let's go down the list real quick. Gearhart, you got anything?
Oh man, circle back to me.
Okay. Ale, do you have any questions for BSJ?
Nah, I'm good.
Alec?
I just want to say that was really helpful, so just consuming it. But
yeah,
thank
feel
you
free to
for
watch
feedback.
as many times you guys need it. It'll be in the VODs, obviously. So
Sanctified?
I don't think so right now. I'm sure I'll have a ton.
I got one to bring us home. Do you do check-ins in a few months to see how your coach teams have done in a few months?
like I was gonna kind of decide that for myself. I've already had one of the teams I coached like very initially reach back out to me and say they'd like to do some sort of follow-up. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going with all this, so I don't want to say no or yes. like the way I want to look at this is the whole intent of this in the first place was that I was like trying to, like, in a positive way. The difference I felt when I play NA games compared to EU is like there's just no team aspect of Dota. Like this vision of the game itself is like non-existent in this region. So like that's why I thought team aspect coaching would actually be way better for like helping the region. I think if I can help 6K players, 7K players think like 9K players, even if they're not as good at it yet, like even if you're not as good at it yet, if I can get you guys thinking that way a little bit, like the team aspect of Dota, I think it'll help the region a lot. So like I kind of need to see what impact this has had on the like 6K, 7K teams to kind of know where I want to go with it. Does that make sense?
Man. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so,
I didn't want a hard yes. I just
no,
didn't know
yeah,
if you
it's like I
previously
need to.
thought
I don't
about
know
it.
what the next step is. Like I'm
I'm
not
make a
there
Reddit
yet.
post in a few months being like BSJ
Yeah.
promised me another coaching
Yeah.
session. You know?
It's just funny because like for me to answer your question either no or yes, I kind of have to know like where I want to go with this, and I don't know the answer. So
you got
you're
one last
definitely
question here?
welcome to check in with me and ask. You're definitely welcome
Sure.
to do that. So
Yeah, our Mandro will poke out to you again.
awesome. Okay, thanks guys. It was a pleasure. Any Gerhard, did you want to say something or are you good, man?
Yeah, I was curious about when prioritizing picks for 5 positions. I obviously play a lot of like the save heroes. Is that something like as a team we should continue to be playing around?
I think it's important in metas that you guys establish what concept is broken that you guys can pick first round. It just seems like this meta is pretty solved, so it's a good time to actually practice this before the new patch comes out, because once the new patch comes out, everything kind of goes to shit. But it seems like right now the best 5s are just ones that babysit and like enable their one. Like
Right.
Undying, Omni Knight, Mag, you know, all these heroes that
Yeah.
Enchantress, Chen, like whatever, right? So at like whenever a certain meta has like a broken formula, then you should just figure out which of those heroes are best for you and
Okay.
what heroes are good against those. Because you're gonna probably find some consistencies in which heroes you struggle against because your heroes you like to play are bad against those, right? So like my emphasis is be confident in whatever you guys think is good, but then figure out what bans and pick order and shit that it takes to like make them work, basically.
Gotcha.
And that's really only done by trial and error. But like say I picked Void there and you picked something that just blew my mind and just completely derailed what I thought was going to be happening in the game. That's how I would learn that maybe Void in response to Omni is not a good one. Like this meta is very established, so it's like I see Omni, I pick Void. I know what heroes you want with Omni, like Sven and PA. They don't feel that great into Void, right? So if you pick them, that's not a surprise to me, and I'm okay with that. But like in a future patch, like when next week or whatever, when it comes out, and everything kind of goes to shit, that's just the mentality you have to be paying attention to, you know. And as long as you're trying to figure out how to make your favorite heroes in that patch work, then that's fine. My only emphasis is like what I want to be concerned about a little bit, just to be blunt. I think Necro is like a terrible hero right now. Like I think I don't ever want a Necro on my team, just to be honest. And that's an example where I want you guys to have signature heroes, and I want you guys to be confident in the heroes you're best at. But if your hero sucks, maybe you try to make it work, but eventually you might just have to put him on the sideline. Like, I would not be picking Slark in 95% of any competitive game I were to play if I were to play one this patch, right? Even though he's my favorite hero, I love Slark, I ain't fucking picking him because he sucks. So it's like, there is a balance between playing your favorite heroes and picking what's fucking good. So I'm not telling you to not pick your favorite heroes, just kind of try to find that happy balance. So, okay.
Thanks for saving NABSJ. Appreciate the time, man.
One step at a
I
time,
love
man.
you.
On that
Bye.
weird note, see you guys later.
Yeah, see ya.
Thanks, guys. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that shenanigans, because at the end of the day, YouTube does care about that. You may not care about it, I may not care about it, but the YouTube algorithm does. So please do.